it is a deadly thing because I'll get to the end of my life and I'll be like, fuck, I forgot to enjoy this. 2:31 p.m. March 3rd, 2019. Today is Reflections 34, and Reflections is a weekly episode where I reflect on my week, and then I come here and I capture the video highlights of that, and I cover what worked, what didn't, lessons I learned, what's been on my mind, where I grew the most, challenges I've had, etc. Let's get right into it. Also, fastest intro of all time. Fuck yeah. What's been on my mind? Time has been very on my mind right now. I have looked back at 2017 and events from 2017, and it feels like just yesterday. Like, time has been whipping by, and it scares the shit out of me. So time has been like I've just been learning a lot about it, thinking a lot about it, and just like, I have shit the fucking bed in the work aspect of things since 2017. I really, really need to fix that aspect of things so just think of like work as in like business aspect. Haven't done a good job since 2017. Also in terms of time, birthdays in already a fucking month. It's like, Jesus, 2019 is already whipping by and it scares the living shit out of me. So I've got to figure out ways of better leveraging time so that I can use it to my benefit. Doubt, specifically around content. I'm at like episode 20 or 75. This should be maybe almost like at 80 or something like that for this episode. And I have had tons of doubts this week, had tons of insecurities around like, am I doing the right thing? Am I wasting my time with this? Ultimately, I'm not, but that's just me getting caught up in like the lack of traction. And like at the lack of traction, I've just been like wondering, am I like deluding myself? Am I doing this for the long term, which I am? But it's just like, am I doing the wrong thing? Should I change my content? There's just all types of things like this. And just wondering if I'm actually helping anyone. All types of things around this. I'm also going to try to do new things because as much as I love the things that I've done so far, they have not gotten me what I'm looking to get. So I think I should implement more vulnerability, try different series, integrate new ideas, etc., just to shake things up a little bit. And also the positive thing about, say, if I hit 100 episodes without hitting quote unquote traction, I make my story even fucking better from when I do hit traction inevitably at some point, somehow, some way. Make a list, do the list. This has been very top of mind, just simplifying things, making a list, and fucking doing it. It doesn't need to be that complicated. That's all progress really is at the end of the day. What were my favorite wins? I recorded the most episodes I've ever recorded in 1 week, which is 6, including this. This is going to be the 6th. And I might do more after. Later today. Who knows? But getting more comfortable with just being on camera and just going off of the notes that I'm creating as a guide, and getting back into the more documenting feel of things, which I love so much. But one of my favorite episodes I recorded was the vulnerability episode, or the very vulnerable episode of talking about my failures. I'm not sure if I'm going to post it, but I was just talking about how I fucked up in the month of February in terms of business, and that was interesting. That helped me. That really forced me to grow a lot. Moxey energetics, I loved the feeling of exiting my comfort zone and expanding it through practicing the pitch. So I'm always one to create a pitch and not practice a pitch. So actually working on practicing the pitch every single day and like getting more comfortable with that. And even just like a week of like, I started with 5 minutes, then 10 minutes, then 15 minutes, then 20 minutes. And I capped it off at that just because the pitch wasn't even built yet, and I might get to this later, but just getting outside my comfort zone and practicing it was really helpful for my comfort zone. Oh, something really cool I started was audio branding. So I'm probably going to be incorporating that whoosh sound that you hear inside my video intros for Reflections and the catch-all, which is non-reflections things right now, but it won't stay like that. But that whoosh sound plus maybe like a clap or something. We'll see how it all goes, but I'm trying to incorporate some sort of audio sound that as soon as you hear it, you'll think of me, because I'll be using it in all my content, my videos, my podcast, my micro content, etc. Anytime there can be a sound, I will try to include it. What worked? I went outside for the first time, and when I say I went outside, I hung outside for the first time in, I don't even know how many months, since the end of September, as far as I can remember. So that was cool. Took a walk. Also recorded 2 episodes during. I had my little selfie stick and used my Apple headphones, or whatever the fuck they're called. The non-AirPod ones, the one with the fucking wires, whatever those are titled, and used the mic on those, and then used my second phone as keeping me in track of notes. And by the way, the longer one for that, you'll notice I pause a few times. It's because my phone fucking closed on me because it was on low battery mode. So I was that was why there was a lot of pauses randomly and hums, or else I wouldn't have had that many. So anyways, going on that walk was really awesome. It was good to get the fresh air, and I'll count this as a win because it was I've just spent so much time on the inside that it was really good to get on the outside of the world and just hang out for a bit. Also listen to some music on the way back, and on the way there I listened to a little bit of War of Art, which was awesome. And overall, it was just good, and I would like to keep this up. It would be nice if I could do that. What worked? Re-listening to the War of Art. This is one of my favorite books of all time. It is, I think, an essential for any creative person, and honestly, any person who's just trying to do something that is worthwhile, meaningful. They're trying to expand in some way. They're trying to build something meaningful. Anything that's, again, worthwhile. Because it's the battle of change. It's the battle of creation. And I cannot recommend getting this book enough. I've listened to it so many times that I try to listen at least twice a year. And damn, just to re-listen to the concepts this time, I was just this is exactly what I need right now. This is so beautiful and just so well put. And it's War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. And that's not Art of War. That is a different book. Doing non-material source energy medicine sessions while I'm falling asleep. This is a beautiful thing because I'm able to fully integrate things. Because normally I would back in the day, I would wake up, do a non-material source energy medicine session on myself, and then I'd quickly go nap, which could turn into a 10-minute nap or a 2-hour nap. So it's much better if I can just fall asleep with the session. It's a very peaceful experience. I love it so much. And it is followed by a very, very nice sleep. So, collecting topics before doing my weekly reflection. So I have this thing where throughout the week, as the week goes on, I get more and more anxious and more nervous around reflections and my weekly reflection, which is the doc version of this, which happens before the video. And I'm always the farther I go on, I'm what did I do this week? What did I learn? Where did I grow? Etc. Because I just forget it all. And then it's so much easier though if I can go off my mind dumps and my journals and everything to remind myself of what I've otherwise forgotten. Because if I don't do that and I try to reflect without those things, it's a very uphill battle. And I'm trying so fucking hard to use all my brain power to remember all this stuff. And it's a battle in itself. So if I'm able to use my notes and collect topics that I can just reference, and it'll remind me of what exactly I want to talk about in the weekly reflection, either doing that, I think a combination of keeping a list as I go, and also just last second going and grabbing all my journals and everything and mind dumps and all that jazz and extracting the points. Using that to help me reflect is so much easier. So thank God for that. That's really worked well this week. Also, you should see it in weeks past. It's been totally a thing where I last second, I'm I have no idea what I'm going to talk about. And just I'm fully prepared for a really shitty episode because I just think I've done nothing and I've learned nothing, which is not true. But it's just my short-term memory type of thing. I'm just only focused on the past day or whatever. So it's it doesn't seem like much. Responding to my doubt with content with recording 6 episodes. So I could have had every reason to just stop or reduce, but I put the pedal down to the fucking metal and recorded a shit ton. The most I've ever recorded in a week at least. And that was a good response. And I like that I did that, because it's like completely counteracting the doubt, even though it's still kind of there. But it's just like, it's headed in the right direction. I'm pushing against it. I'm going to break that motherfucker. And I'm talking about doubt. You're my bitch, doubt. You're my bitch. What didn't work, and how can I improve it? Judging moments by their lack of perfection. I find that, like, I'll look at a moment and something as stupid as like a noise or whatever, I'll like judge it heavily as if that's not supposed to happen. And I need to be focused, or I don't even know, a million different things like that. And it's so fucking, like, I judge it, and then I'm like reducing my mood because I'm judging that thing. So it's just like the most pointless fucking thing. I'd rather just embrace it, appreciate it for what it is, and realize it's perfect in its own little way. That, and I would also recommend to myself to rewrite the rule in my brain around what is perfect and what is not, and what is worth judging and what is not, because it's just a waste of my energy and time. I'm wasting too much time right now, whether that's post-workouts or just like making meals or what have you. I'm just not putting in enough time, in my opinion, and I want to be putting in more. And the ways I've come up with to try to fix this is things like checking or starting a stopwatch when I'm ready to make food, and on the post-workout just doing the same thing, reminding myself of time blocks and like, what have I done in the past hour, what have I done in the last 10 minutes, these type of things that'll just quickly get me in check, get me rolling, and things like that, because I am not using my time effectively enough, and I want to be. Biphasic sleep. It's not that it didn't work, it was more like I didn't work with it this week because I was so fucking tired. I was just exhausted this week. I don't really know why, but man, I needed a lot of sleep this week, like 9 hours on average at least. So that works best when I am properly energized. And another key thing is making sure I'm specifying what I need to work on within those like 1, 2, 3 hours when I'm up in between the two different sleep blocks. So that is something I didn't do well this week. Would like to correct that going forward, and that'll make biphasic easier when I'm ready to return. So I made a plan for hustling, quote unquote, and that's for Moxey energetics. But I haven't done a good enough job of following through with it. I have made progress, so working on the pitch, practicing the pitch, etc. But I still have more to do. I need to deploy it in the real world. I need to finish the website, etc. So this can be working in a good way. But what I haven't done is like kept myself in check enough for that. I haven't done enough, and doing things like checking my bank account even more, and checking my dream board even more, checking my to-dos even more, checking my, what am I missing? Trello boards even more. These 4 things I've done almost every day, and this has been on my power list to do so because of it. It's an important thing to keep myself checked in like that, and I do that every single day, but I need to be doing it more, I think, and things like this to keep myself accountable to doing the right things. If I don't check in, I can find myself drifting off in different directions because I'm not keeping myself lined up with where I ultimately need to go and where I need to head, even if it's uncomfortable. And guess what? Everything I want is just outside my comfort zone. That has been very, very top of mind this week. So just gotta fucking do that. Also, environments. I have to do a better job of reminding myself of like who I want to be. Do I want to be like average Joe, or do I want to be like Elon Musk or any of the other greats that I aspire to be like? Keeping these people in my mind and around in proximity like that, that is the best way to become someone like that. Keeping them in my mind with audio, video, books, etc. Very fucking key. What were my biggest lessons? I did a completely different episode on this, but I realized that my ultimate why, right now at least, what feels true, is to help make success easier for myself and for others. I love that, especially the myself and others. That's a very key part of that. And, if I look at everything I've done in the past and what I'm doing in the present, it is following that guideline right there. It is trying to make success easier through things like what I've built with my apps and web apps, and what I'm doing with non-material source energy medicine and Moxey energetics. these are all trying to make my success easier, and I'm just very grateful that I came to that why. And you can see the real-time cognition in another video that I'll link below. In my challenge with the doubt for content and my branding and all that kind of jazz, I did come up with a lesson that, or a realization, which is I am only going to truly like pop and get a lot of traction with content when I'm getting the results, when I am succeeding in business and in life and in whatever else I am talking about, because that is how advice works. You listen to people who are succeeding in it, and I haven't succeeded in what I'm doing yet, so I don't expect people to follow me. What the fuck? So for now, the intentions are just like, let's succeed, and for now, let's just document the process of succeeding. And that's always been the intention, but it's just like now there's a kind of like a detachment from blowing up because I haven't earned it yet. And for now, I'll just continue bringing value to the people who are smart enough and have the vision to see where I am headed. And I appreciate the fuck out of those people who are watching and listening. So thank you so much for being those people. I'll also continue to be building skill around content creation and communication and all this jazz. And also I'll just continue to be documenting and sharing my journey and my climb to becoming world class in life and in business. Being caught up with content is just amazing. And I've got 4 takeaways of what I've learned so far now that I'm up to date and I'm producing effectively or creating a lot. Anyways, first off, I'm more likely to record because it has that real-time value type of proposition to it. And that I'm just more likely to share documenting stuff when it's closer to real time. That was my biggest struggle before, but now I'm up to date. I can do that. Number 2, if it doesn't come out well, I can re-record it. And so like I'll record it, think it came out well, and then I'll look at it and I'm like, wow, this is awful. I can go and re-record it because that lesson or that thought or that whatever is still probably fresh and top of mind and still relevant to me in that moment. So I can redo it. Okay, number 3. If I run out of room, which I actually am in real time right now, I'm looking at all these lessons. I'm like, damn, there's a lot of good stuff in here that I won't be able to cover today. And I know that I can cover certain things in different videos themselves. And even if I was to record or whatever reflections and then run out of room in editing, I can do that there. I'm like, I could cut a clip and then just like record a completely different video on it, or just leave it till next week, that type of thing. Number 4, the delay is just enough. So it's anywhere from like a day to a week behind in my release schedule, if you will, so that I can be vulnerable as fuck. Like that one video, I would not have released it immediately, I don't think, because it just was so uncomfortable. It was talking about my February failure. Excuse me. And that delay is just enough, a 1 day to a week type of thing, where I can detach from the message and just remind myself like, this is not me anymore. This is my past self, and or just stop caring. So anyways, I love those 4 things, and I've realized this as I've been up to date. It's just a lot more fucking fun being up to date on content. It's just, I love it. Cannot recommend enough. Being behind sucks. If you were the last person on earth, would you do what you were doing? This is a beautiful way of measuring if you were in it for the love of the craft, because if you're the last person on the earth, you would not be doing it for money. You would not be doing it for fame, recognition, approval, or any other reason other than just pure fucking love, generally speaking. You might be doing it for survival. I don't know. Anyways, the whole fucking point of this, though, is just to get clear on if you're truly doing it for the love of the craft or not. And I think that like the people who succeed at the highest levels are the ones who are doing it for the craft, not necessarily for those things I just listed. And if you want to do it for those things, be my guest. I think doing it for the craft is superior. Love of the process. People's ideas are generally garbage if they're not going to start with the challenge and the root cause. So when you're getting feedback, always be cautious of that, because I'm like, the one I I got feedback from someone. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, it just wasn't good. But what I can get from a feedback dump, even if it's not good, is what I can get is clarity of what not to do. I can start to read between the lines and try to see what are they exactly touching on right now that I can extract from. And I can also grab some gold. I'm sure like there is one thing or like a twist on what they're saying that I can extract and use, which I did with the example I'm talking about. And you also become more certain if you gain clarity on what not to do, because you now know your thesis is better, and you know where not to go, and you know where to go ultimately instead. If you're anything like me, it's very easy to forget to appreciate the present. And I try to constantly remind myself of how valuable the now is, and that's all there fucking is. There's no future, there's no present. There's just right now. Because like, best of luck trying to experience the future or present. You just can't. You're always just experiencing the now. And a way to appreciate the now more is ask yourself, if I was 100 years old, how much would I pay to relive this moment right now? And I snagged that from Graham Duncan on Tim Ferriss' show. And damn, that entire bit by him was just incredible. That, especially that time piece, like, is what I'm talking about. There was like a good 20 minutes on time, and it was so relevant. And I think I liked it enough that I'll probably do another episode on it, because I don't have enough time to cover it all in here. But that was just an incredible takeaway from that episode. What challenges did I experience? I noticed a vicious cycle this week with my work, which is I have an incredible impatience on projects. So for joshmoxey.com right now, side project of mine, and I am constantly just like feeling it is taking way too long. It is never enough. This thing is just dragging on. It is such a burden type of feeling, instead of just appreciating where it's at, where it's growing, enjoying. I do enjoy it, but it's just like there's always that kind of balance between enjoying and also, this is taking way too long. I have to finish this. There's such a chase for the end result instead of appreciating the presence and the act of creation. Because like, I'll get to the end and I'll be like, fuck, I forgot to have fun. I forgot to appreciate this. And if I continue doing this, I'll live a life of that, because patterns just duplicate themselves in different ways across all of my life. So it's like, I need to address this ASAP, because it is a deadly thing. Because I'll get to the end of my life and I'll be like, fuck, I forgot to enjoy this. Straight up, I'm wondering if anyone, like, I feel like no one gives a fuck about me in a strange sense. So there's like a positive about that, which is no one gives a fuck about me. Let's go do shit. And no one gives a fuck about anyone, ultimately. I mean, they do, but like, come on. You only can care so much about someone you don't know in your inner circle. At least that's kind of my thoughts are on it at this point. But yeah, I've just been curious. I'm like, does anyone give a fuck about me? Like, or am I just like a fucking island out here? So that's been interesting. Also on that note, I am scared to read. Not even scared. I don't like reaching out to people right now that I've known in the past, because I feel like such a fucking loser, because I have not made the progress. I have not backed up my words, or thus far at least. And yeah, so I don't know why, but I always attached my progress to if I reach out to someone. Like, I don't like to reach out to people unless I'm progressing in some sort of degree. So it's a pretty dangerous path I'm running with that one. But yeah, that's just currently my truth. Also, such a small percent of my Instagram followers right now are actually people that properly vibe with me. At least that's my understanding. So far, I feel like no one understands except for like a small handful of people. But I appreciate those people, by the way, who do understand. But the vast majority I just don't think are smart enough to understand or grasp what the fuck I'm talking about half the time. So yeah, I just super need a purge on my Instagram following. It's going to be so much fun when I have a big following. I'm most pumped about it because for one, having meaningful discussions. Number two, for feedback. Like, I'm trying to fucking come up with ideas in the dark right now. I'm just shooting fucking blanks, if you will. I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. I'm just trying to test and experiment, and I don't know what exact direction to go in, here's the thing, like, you have to get a fan base to do that. So I'm curious about what that piece of content is, or if I have a moment, or if it's more like a gradual climb type of thing, where I do get that traction that I would so desire, which is going to be a lot of fun, by the way. But again, I am most excited for the feedback, so it can help drive my channel and my podcast and my pages, because ultimately I just want to fucking help people. And that's another thing. Am I actually helping anyone right now? Like, just like, come the fuck on. I just want to have some sort of impact on people's lives in a positive way. And it just hasn't happened yet. I will. I fucking will. But it's just, I'm getting a little bit impatient right now, but it's going to happen. Where did I grow the most? Vulnerability on camera. So specifically that one episode I keep talking about with February failures, talking about my entrepreneurship failures thus far, and real quick about like money and business and stuff like that, and the way I was feeling around that. That was very uncomfortable. Especially if I post it, that'll be like, wow. Okay. Even just talking about the things I just talked about in challenges, these are always very helpful for my for my growth, because it's just like, when you confront poison like that and confront that type of stuff on camera, especially, like, it's even valuable in real life, but especially to do it on camera, knowing that the world is going to see, very weird, very fucking weird, even to this day. So yeah, I'm so fucking glad I built this muscle, because it's easy in real life, but it's honestly just like a game at this point. I'm just trying to expand my comfort zone to where it can just be easy to talk about fucking anything. I wonder how crazy it's going to get in the future with that type of stuff, but I'm glad how I'm growing with that so far. I'm also doing a better job of catching myself when I'm rambling and going in circles, trying to simplify better. I feel like I've done a good job with that this week, making that even shorter and closing the gap. Practicing pitch daily. That was uncomfortable, but I did it. Made it happen even when I didn't feel like it, minus yesterday, but because I just changed it up yesterday because I wasn't finding that I was making progress on just like an unstructured pitch. But practicing it every day daily has been super fucking helpful. What am I obsessed with right now? Mind dumps. Holy fuck. I love these so much. I've been doing it for like 3 weeks religiously now, and holy shit, I'm glad I have. It is such a good way of getting out everything in my head. Number one, if I have like really stupid thoughts, get them out, and I can start to like restructure them after I write them down to like reframe and get myself thinking in a better direction, or a more positive direction, or a reframe direction. And it's also great to list out actionables as I'm going throughout the day, so I can just like throw something down real quick and I'll come back to it later. A whole host of reasons. It's just very good for extracting actionables, clearing my mind, making room for more ideas to flow, etc. I'm in love with it. I think you should try it. However you want to try it, be my guest. I do a weekly doc of all my mind dumps in a week, and then I started over next week, and I started that this week, and it worked really fucking well. So I just can't say enough good about mind dumps right now, whether physical or digital. Reflections 24 in the book, and I just recorded 2 outros that failed miserably, so I'll try to keep this a lot more simple. Give me feedback, please. If you liked a certain part, let me know the timestamp. I would love to hear that. If you could give some feedback in terms of like comments, ratings, follow me if you liked it enough, subscribe, that'd be incredible. Whether that's on YouTube, podcast, IGTV, where the fuck you're watching it. You're not watching it on IGTV because it's too long. 30 minutes plus does not work so well on IGTV for me. And did I say YouTube, Facebook, podcast? Whatever. Anyways, those things. Appreciate watching and listening. This has been a good episode. I hope this came out well, and I hope this is well worth your time. And I hope you got a little bit of gold, a little bit of nuggets, a little bit of value extracted. Anyways, my name is Josh Moxey. I appreciate watching and listening, and I will catch you later.